What do you think?
Well, that was my first time seeing that video in that detailed order.
Okay.
So, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I don't have a theory. I don't have a theory. All I have is speculation, and I don't want to say that on camera right now. I need to study. I need to get my facts.
Exactly.
But it looks suspect, but we don't know what happened still. Those videos that I saw on when it first happened, that was just after the shooting. So I don't know what happened in the beginning to lead towards that shooting. If he was reaching for something and then they asked for a gun afterwards, and then screaming started. So, and what we have to understand here, we have to understand about police officers, they are just as scared as we are.
Yes.
Police officers are human like we are.
And they are exposed to a lot
more
stuff than we are. They are exposed to
so much stuff that we are there. So that makes them 10 or 20 times paranoid. If I watch the news, listen, example, I watch the news all day today because of my parents. I am paranoid as hell.
Now, don't get it wrong. I'm not saying that I'm all for police officers or I'm kissing their ass or anything like that.
I am all for police officers, and it was a lady that made a statement, and it was a black lady that made a statement saying that policemen need to be abolished. What dumbass? Policemen do not need to be abolished. We need safety.
We need safety,
and that's how. I'm not trying to overtalk, but I talk a lot. But I am not trying to say, that I don't hate cops at all. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They protect us, but we live in a society that is ruled by law to keep society livable.
Where there is no law, there's chaos.
Chaos.
So what I'm saying is that I'm not kissing up to their asses or anything like that, but I do think that we need to be aware of the situation, because there's a lot for us to take in. Now, you mentioned that based off of seeing my video that it seems suspect and you don't want to just make an assumption about anything.
No.
Well, that's exactly the stance that we should all take.
Exactly.
Because we know that people are not just, who would brutally shoot someone? Like you said, he wasn't a white officer.
Well, I think some people would brutally shoot somebody.
Yeah, who would do that?
But wait a minute, I want to go back.
As well as good cops.
Exactly. They are bad cops as well as good cops. Just like there are bad people, like there are good people. There are bad black people. There are bad white. There are bad Hispanic people,
Absolutely.
So it's not just down to all blacks or whatever are bad. There's a lot of bad people in this world. But I want to make sure this quote, I got to get this out. I got to make sure I had this right with President. Okay, really, Chief Brown or whoever the chief of Dallas is made the quote, and President Obama quoted it back. Okay. So he said, we asked the police to do too much and we ask too little of ourselves. And that is true. We are responsible for raising our children, teaching I don't have no kids, raising our children, teaching our uncles and aunts, being accountable, not co-signing when someone is doing something wrong. We have to teach our family when they grow up what to do out there, what not to do out there, what are what we are expecting from them, what they are needed to be expected when you go out into the world and you socialize with everybody.
Right. So if you were Alton Sterling and not if you were Alton Sterling, but if you were a family member of Alton Sterling, someone who loved him, a niece or a nephew or someone, what would you have said to him about being out that late at night? How late was he out?
Well, the report said it started around 11:30, almost midnight.
What would you have to say to him?
I'm just like, hey, Unc, you too old to be out here this late. Something may happen to you. You already got 5 or 6, 10 strikes against you. You're already a convicted felon. Do you have a gun on you? Because you can't carry the gun because you're already convicted, and that's going to lead you into more trouble, Unc. You don't supposed to be selling these CDs because they're illegal. You know what I mean? Yeah. But also, I'll tell the police, you did not have to shoot him because you had 2 officers down pinning his hands.
Right.
So why did you have to shoot the man? That's what kills me.
Right.
Why you had to shoot? He a thug. Yeah, he got a record.
Yeah, but you didn't know that.
Yeah, but you didn't know that when you drove up. The man didn't have to die.
He didn't have to die.
But he could have still been alive if he would have been. He's such a good father. He should have been home that night with his kids.
So in other words, you're saying that they had other options. Just having a conversation.
Both sides had other options.
Just holding just having this communication, this conversation. They had other options. They could have tased him.
They did tase him.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. But, so you mean that they tased him and he was still standing up?
I think they tased him maybe a couple of times.
Well, because in the video that I saw him still standing up. And then they were still talking to him before they bum rushed him. So you mean to tell me that they tased him and he still didn't go down? And that's,
I believe they did tase him.
So wouldn't that mean that they had extra reasons to be a little bit more adrenalized?
Possibly. But once you have someone down, pinned down, 2 cops.
That should have been enough. That should have been enough.
That should have been enough to where you could really obtain a suspect.
So
and put cuffs or do something without pulling out a gun, shooting someone 5 or 6 times.
Now I heard them say, or someone, he has a gun. Now to me, even if he has a gun, but you have him pinned down, if you had to shoot him, let's just say he had the gun in his hand. Why not just shoot him in the arm?
But he didn't have the gun in his hand. He didn't have the gun at all.
But what
he had the gun in his pocket, I believe.
But what I'm saying is even if he had a gun in that situation in his arm, and you have him pinned down, why not just shoot him in the arm, shoot him in the leg, or something just to kind of stun and regain control of that situation? You had an option. I'm just holding
both
people
sides
accountable.
had an option.
Both options, yeah, both sides.
And since no one used that option, a life was lost.
Sadly so. And on his side, he should have complied. He should have, if they told him to get down, raise your hands up, whatever it is that they asked him to do, he should have complied. On that video for the Philando Castile video, and his girlfriend Diamond Reynolds was explaining to the people what was going on. She went into, he asked me to put my hands up. He asked us to put our hands up, and I put my hands up. And then someone off to the side, replay it for yourself, asked this question. You can hear this female ask Diamond Reynolds this question. Why did you have to put your hands up? You put your hands up because an officer of the law
told you to. Exactly.
Asked you to put your hands
we
up.
have to abide. But going back to the fatal shootings today that happened in Baton Rouge with the 3 cops that were killed and the 3 officers that were wounded, that was a black man. The killer was a black man.
How do you feel about that?
I'm embarrassed. I'm upset because, that doesn't represent us. That doesn't represent all the black people. And, we have that problem. Just like we used to, and I don't know if you're guilty of it. I am. When we look at the news and we see a mass killing, I am saying, please don't let it be a black man. I am. I'm saying, please don't let it be a black man.
That's
Just
true.
like if you're a Hispanic or what, I'm pretty sure they saying, oh, por favor, don't let it be one of us. Because people stereotype you off of one action.
That's true.
That crime that happened today, Gene, was horrible.
Yeah, and it was senseless because, and then it doesn't.
And it just doesn't help us.
It doesn't help.
It doesn't bring us closer together.
It actually adds more
But
problems.
I want to blame a little bit the media, and social media. We get on here and we are talking negatively, and we having all these quotes and having all these, very sensitive words on Facebook that offend people and affect people.
Yeah. So,
and we have to stop that. We have to have more.
So offend and affect, those are 2 major words that I think that we need to expound on a little bit. Affect. It affects your white friends who are watching, because a lot of us have friends of other races.
I do.
Yeah, and I do as well.
Yes.
But it affects them, and it affects how they respond to you when you are around them. It affects them. It affects the people that they are around.
It makes them uncomfortable.
It makes them very uncomfortable, and also on alert as well. So now when you are in a workplace, guess what? They may treat you slightly different. You're already wondering why, and you're already upset because you're listening to everybody else who's in your circle on Facebook, and you're adding to the confusion. You're adding to the hate.
And it's no solution when you do that. It's no solution to that. And, just like when I was watching those reports today, when I saw that, and the media took a long time to identify the shooter. I just said to myself, oh man, it's not a black man, because if it was a black man, in my opinion, and this is my premature thinking that I need to work on. Oh, they would have had a black man on there. That's what we say. Come on, let's just keep it real.
And so we need to be accountable for that and change that as well.
We have to try to change our thinking. We have to be more educated. Just like now, we're having this, and rational. But just like now, we're sitting here, we're having a conversation about events that happen. We really don't know the facts ourselves.
But we are holding ourselves accountable to the truth. And we're being
and I want to be open, and I want to have everyone that looks at our video and this discussion to be honest and real about everything, and really just kind of sit back and dissect what we are seeing in our world today, and just kind of being real with ourselves, and saying, hey,
I agree.
We have to be accountable. All I'm saying is the events that's happened today is shaking our country. It is dividing our country, and this is not the way to go.
And I think that when we are responding to these alleged police brutality, especially without knowing all the facts.
Exactly, and that is the word. Wendy Williams used that word all the time, alleged. It's alleged police attacks. It's allegedly someone, ran from the cops or robbed a liquor store. No, we don't know. We don't know the facts. We don't know the details. But that's why it's important for us to have this conversation, to kind of have a real talk with one another in our world today.
Yeah.
Look what happened in France. Violence is going all over our world. It's scary.
Yeah.
And we just need to be real with each other and real with everybody.
And be accountable for our actions.
Yeah,
we need to be accountable as a police officer. We need to be accountable. As a citizen,
we need to be accountable.
And we need to be accountable for our words and realize that our words can affect everybody. And guess what?
Exactly.
They are affecting the youth because they are looking up to us to see how to deal with the stuff around us. But if nobody is making these intuitive how-to videos to say this is how you respond to a traffic stop, if nobody's saying...
And that was a great video.
It was an awesome video.
And he got flack for that.
He got flack for it. But see, this is how far we're going. We are letting the hate tear us from all the positive
And we
things.
can't let the hate tear us apart. We can't let the hate tear us apart. Hey, I enjoyed that, Gene.
I enjoyed it too, Candice.
Okay.
We definitely should do it again.
We are going to do
it again.
We got to keep this going.
We have to keep the dialogue going.
Ah!